Hello everyone, this is Janae from Kines 186. I'm here just to talk about our discussion post number 5, which is discussing activities of daily living. Today I'm just going to kind of touch on the different assessment tools you may use and then different ways you can execute exercises to help patients improve activities of daily living. The first thing that I want to touch on is assessment. I did research a lot. I found this on the website listed below, but there is some different checklists and assessments you can follow. This one I really liked because I felt like it outlined things in a way that I could understand and that were easy to read, and it touched on all of the main daily activities that patients are going to need to function, especially if they're on their own independently. So this is an example of one, and it would be, to use it, it'd be a good way to determine if the patient is going to require a lot of assistance, maybe needs to move, if it's an older senior, move to an assisted living facility. If it's a child, you could see if they are going to be able to function in a school setting. So by check marking the different bullet points listed here, you can kind of determine if the patient would be able to successfully perform these activities of daily living. For the evaluation, you can evaluate a patient's ability to complete the activities listed on the checklist as follows. So kind of what I touched on already, but if you're watching the patient, if you're working with a patient, observing them, whether you're observing them in person or you see a video of them that they've taken at home by themselves, you can check mark if that activity requires them to have any assistance. They may need no assistance, some assistance, or complete assistance, and this is really going to help determine their independence. Environmental factors are also play a role. There is several different environmental factors, such as a wheelchair or a walker, or if they're in a home that has limited mobility, limited space for these kinds of walking or balance tools, that's going to affect these activities as well. And the environmental factors can either create a positive or a negative effect on these activities of daily living. So that's something that you want to keep in mind too. And I think I touched on this also, but observation. Sometimes these assessments are performed and evaluated in a clinic, or they could be in a home setting. It's wherever the patient spends most of their time. If they're currently in a nursing home facility and you're reevaluating their ADLs, you would want to probably observe them in a nursing home setting where all of these tools are available to them. If they are still at home, you want to see what in their home may be beneficial for them or hindering them to complete these activities. So I was unable to actually get my video to upload. Apparently it was too big of a file for me to upload, so I did provide a picture of some exercises that I did with my mom, and I did provide the link to the video that I made below. So if you want to check that out, it's kind of help explain things a little bit more. But one thing I wanted to touch on is arm mobility. So arm mobility is going to affect lots of our daily activities, whether it's just brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, cooking, getting up in the morning, getting dressed. You really need to have arm mobility, and arm mobility affects your balance as well. A lot of patients are going to use their arms as leverage to hold on to things to keep their balance, or just to, counteract them walking. So this is a really important function when it comes to activities of daily living. So one exercise that I found to be very beneficial is this exercise here. So what my mom is doing is she has her hand placed on a towel against a smooth surface. So she's going to start low and slowly, with that towel against the wall, work her way up. And each day you want to set a new goal. So maybe today she can only move her hand an inch. And then maybe next week I tell her, okay, I want your goal to be able to move your hand 2 inches. You can give these patients small goals, and it's going to slowly but surely help them, the more they repeat it, improve all these activities. So whether it might be a simple exercise, but it's going to affect lots of different activities they're going to be doing throughout the day. And if you check out the video of the link that I posted, it's going to show me holding a tape measure, and that's a way that I can, tell my mom, if she's improved or if she hasn't, and by measuring it, I can get an exact reading and know exactly how much progress she's made. And if it's positive, that's really going to help the patient to stay motivated to keep working towards their goals. And the best way to describe how to do this to your patient is to have them stand I guess, perpendicular to the wall, place their hand on it, and then they're just going to take very slow movements. You want your arm to be mostly extended. That way you, as stability reasons, and you're going to want to do this on the left and the right side. Next, we're going to focus on balance. Balance is obviously really important. It's going to affect how you walk, how you stand. So that's something that you definitely want to have. So for this, I had my mom stand on one foot. She's able to do this unassisted, but some patients may not be able to. So if you check out the video, again, I posted the link down below. I help support my mom. So if I wasn't there, I could offer her a cane or a walker, or she could use, if let's say she's at home and she's getting dressed. This balance is really going to affect a patient getting dressed. So if you're putting your pants on, you're going to, have to pick up one leg and have at a time to put your pants on. That does require balance. So if she's at home, she could use, she could have railing as a support, things like that. So for this, I had my mom focus on the red square that you see against the door there. Something really important with balance is that if you get your patient to focus on a specific point, that's going to keep their eyes focused, and if they stare at one point, it's going to be less movement in the rest of the body. So I had her standing on her right leg here, and then if I were to do this again, I'd have her do it on her left leg. And it may start out with just being her standing on her leg unsupported for 5 seconds, and then you could work your way up. Or like if you look at the video that I posted, it could start out with me supporting her and her standing on her leg, and then we work towards unassisted. So things like this are going to help the patient improve walking and other daily activities as well. So there's lots of things that you can do, lots of exercises that can help. Hip mobility is really important. I know I touched on arm mobility, but I was talking to a couple of the trainers that I've kind of volunteered and observed with at Elite Performance, and they said that for ADLs, hip mobility is super important. So that's something that I could have touched on also, and exercises that you could do to increase hip mobility as well, because that's going to help with all of these activities too. So I hope this video was informative, and I hope you guys got something out of it. So thank you.